Jen did a live stream on Sunday on the Tulsa Massacre, which was one of the biggest race massacres in American history. So Biden went there today. Biden, who, created the crime bill, helped push militarized weaponry to police departments, helped incentivize more prisons being built through the crime bill for Black people to be housed in, palled around with segregationist Strom Thurmond during the 1970s. So this is who Biden is. He's the one going down to Tulsa to mark the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre, which was, said was Black Wall Street. Well, guess what? Let me show you this story. When asked point blank, should he apologize maybe for the Tulsa Massacre? He dodged. Joe Biden on Tuesday dodged questions about whether there should be a presidential apology for the 1921 Tulsa race massacre as the survivors demand reparations. Biden didn't respond to shouted questions as he toured the Greenwood Cultural Center, examining an exhibition on the massacre that left around 300 dead. You're right, it was a massacre, Biden says as he walked around the center. The exhibit contained black and white historical photos and newspaper pages related to the massacre. There was a large painting depicting people walking down a street with their hands in the air. A poster reads, "Remembering Black Wall Street." After the tour, Biden went to meet with 3 living survivors, Hugh Van Ellis Sr., Leslie Bedingfield Randall, and Viola Fletcher, ages 101 to 107. Biden's silence on the apology came after the White House declined to say if Biden supported reparations for victims of the Tulsa Massacre after a star-studded anniversary memorial was canceled over the issue. So, literally, the President of the United States can't say, yes, I, as the President, apologize for one of the biggest race massacres in American history. This is ridiculous. It is obscene. But Biden's FDR, the New York Times is. But Biden's FDR, CNN tells us. But Biden's FDR, Washington Post tells us. This is why, during the campaign, when people like Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, whatever his name is, and other Black leaders were saying, what are you actually going to give us? We need to, I'm a white person, so I'm not telling Black people how to think. But if you remember, Black leaders, pop culture, music, were saying, the days of just automatically giving you our vote, and you coming to churches during election time, but doing jack shit when you're in office, those are over. And Biden, frankly, the reason he got in, the reason he won was because of Black people coming out in Atlanta, which won him Georgia, which because of Black people coming out in Detroit, won in Michigan, because of Black people coming out in Milwaukee, won in Wisconsin, because of Black people coming out in Philadelphia. Yet, what is he doing for Black people? What is he doing about I don't even call it police brutality anymore, police terrorism? The Department of Justice is opening some investigations. You saw Andrew Brown was wrongly shot to death on body camera. You have a police cover-up going on in Louisiana about Ronald Green, and he wants to give more money to police departments under the guise of reform. But he won't apologize as the president for one of the biggest race massacres in American history. What does that say to you? What does that say to you that the Democratic president who ran on restoring the soul of America would not simply say, of course, America owes Black people an apology? What does it say to you that this man, and by the way, shame on Bernie and other progressives who weren't for reparations, doesn't believe that the living victims of Tulsa Massacre are owed reparations? Well, why would he believe that if he doesn't think the Native Americans are owed reparations? A lot of people pushed out nonsense about Marianne Williams. Doesn't matter if she wasn't your cup of tea. She was the strongest on reparations. So, like we've been talking about how it's just being normalized that millions of people are going to be thrown into the streets and evicted in a few weeks, it's now the president won't apologize for the biggest bloody massacre, not the biggest, but one of the most horrific massacres in American history. But the Democratic Party coming around midterms is going to be pushing the message to black people. Ooh, we got Trump out. Ooh, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, let's finish the job. Keep us in the House. Keep us in the Senate. What are they doing for black people? Nothing. Nothing. Is Biden actively pushing the PRO Act, which would revitalize unions or help revitalize unions in this country? No, he's not doing jack shit to push the PRO Act through. Biden gonna overthrow the filibuster, which, by the way, Obama, his predecessor, who he loves and throws around BFF bracelets with, when Obama has said it's a relic of Jim Crow, no, he's not touching the filibuster. He's not muscling Joe Manchin for the filibuster, Kristen Sinema for the filibuster, which he's the president. He could muscle them. What's he doing on police reform other than the Department of Justice opening up some investigations? Oh, the FBI is looking into it. Is he saying we need to send therapists into every police department around America, which I think psychiatrists, therapists, social workers, head to toe evaluations of every police officer in this country, you would see probably 60 to 70% of their badges pulled if that were the case. Psychiatric evaluations, racial bias, none of that. And to me, this is one of the most glaring cases of a Democratic politician lying to black people, because he literally ran. He literally ran on, don't worry about Iowa. Don't worry about New Hampshire. We don't need to worry as much about getting Trump voters per se. Black Americans will put me over the top. Black communities like me. They trust me. They know my record. He thinks his record is good. So I'm reading a book right now called Lucky, about how he was lucky to get in there. And it basically says he banked his whole campaign on the endorsements of black leaders and basically taking for granted the black vote. We know he basically left after New Hampshire, skipped Nevada, went straight to South Carolina. So to me, again, I'm white, so I don't want to speak for black people, but you don't apologize for the Tulsa Massacre. You're not doing anything substantial on police reform, let's face it. Neither did Obama. You're not even actually condemning police officers. You're not even starting to create conversations around, look at Andrew Brown. Why, for a subpoena or a search warrant, did they have to come in on a truck, armed to the teeth with Call of Duty type weaponry? And immediately after they got off the truck to serve a search warrant on Andrew Brown, they already had their guns pointed at him. That would take presidential leadership to call that out. He's not doing any of it. Yet, I'm sure MSNBC's coverage tonight, I'm sure CNN's coverage tonight, the New York Times coverage is, oh, we've really missed the days of this kind of presidential leadership. Could you imagine Trump having gone down there for this? It's pathetic. It really is pathetic.